What was supposed to be a weekend camping trip turned into a nightmare when 5 college friends decided to explore the uncharted section of Blackwood Forest. Deep in the woods, they discovered a strange stone box covered in symbols that none of them recognized, partially buried beneath centuries of soil and roots. Despite warnings etched into the stone, curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to open the ancient artifact as the sun disappeared beyond the horizon. The moment the lid was removed, a blinding light erupted from within, followed by a cold wind that seemed to whisper ancient threats as it swept through the trees. From the artifact emerged a shapeless entity of smoke and shadow, gradually taking form as it fed on the friends' growing fear. The entity chose its first victim, lifting her into the air as ancient symbols began to appear on her skin, and her eyes glowed with an unearthly blue light. The remaining friends fled through the forest with the sealed box, but the entity had already been released and was hunting them, whispering each of their names in voices that sounded like their own. When they finally reached their car at the edge of the forest, they realized they were trapped as the vehicle's doors refused to open, and their reflections in the windows showed faces that weren't entirely their own. One of them discovered ancient text on the bottom of the box that might be a binding spell, their only hope of containing the entity before it possessed them all. As dawn approached, the 4 friends formed a circle around the artifact and began reciting the binding spell, their voices growing stronger as the entity fought against the ancient words, pulling it back into its prison. With one final desperate effort, they completed the ritual, watching as the screaming entity was pulled back into the box. But the victorious expressions on their faces quickly faded when they realized that a small wisp of blue smoke had escaped, disappearing into the morning mist. They left Blackwood Forest as the sun rose, taking the chained artifact with them to find someone who could permanently seal it, unaware that their ordeal had only just begun and that the entity had marked each of them during that long night in the woods.